order of the Southside Network Authority for October 10th, 2025. Good to see everybody. Happy fall. We'll start off with a roll call. Mr. Nixon, would you do me the honor?
Sure. Ms. Ritter?
Here.
Chairman Cullen?
Here.
Mr. Carter? Dr. K?
Present.
Ms. Wilson is here. Ms. Fitzpatrick is here. Ms. Whitesworth's here. Mr. Hayes is not here. Ms. Davies is not here.
She's on the way.
Okay. And Mr. Wallace is here.
Great. So we have a quorum. Thank you very much. We'll move to the agenda. Is there a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented? Thank you, Ms. Ritter. I think the hand motion was that you want to move the agenda to...
Yes, because I was chewing.
Okay. Thank you.
I was told you should not speak.
I appreciate that.
It's our snack time.
It's my lunchtime.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Kay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the agenda is approved. The public comment section is next. Are there any folks here who would like to make public comment? Okay, seeing none. Have there been any public comments submitted previously? Okay, great. We'll next go to the meeting minutes from September 12th, 2025. Were there some adjustments made? You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from September 12th?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Kay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Ritter. Appreciate that. Any discussion? Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to make sure we are talking about the amended minutes.
That's
Yeah,
what.
the edited minutes.
So these minutes have been slightly edited
Yeah.
because there was some, I think, some confusion because of remote participation, but I think we're good. Thank you for putting that, Ms. Wilson. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the amended minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes have been approved. Now we'll get into the fun stuff. Mr. Lyon, would you please provide the construction update?
Good afternoon, everyone. Go ahead and start. So we're going to give updates on construction as of October 10th, 2025. This is the timeline. We're going to talk about the current timeline, the production map, the current status, the production dashboard, each member city's updates, and then the Q&A at the end. This is the current timeline. There's been a couple of changes to the timeline since last board meeting. As you can see from the timeline from October, the end date is to be determined at this point. There was a slight change in Portsmouth. We'll talk about that. They moved from November to December, and that's primarily around VDOT. All other cities remain the same except Virginia Beach, which is to be determined at this point due to permit at this time. This is our current map. No changes from the last board meeting month over month. We're waiting on some railroads and also to close some gaps. Those are most of the gaps, and as you can see, we still have the Midtown tunnel to cross through as well. This is our dashboard. So the dashboard may be a little bit different from what's in your packet. There were some updates I received yesterday that updated the dashboard. We didn't have any conduits placed as we're waiting on permits from railroads. We did increase our handholds by 13 in Suffolk. Fiber pulling increased by 40,000 feet this week alone. And then tracer wire, we had about 60,000 feet of tracer installed. Moving to the city of Portsmouth, VDOT agreement is still pending. We're working with VDOT and central office. I worked through some additional information this week and found some reduction in the cost. We provided that to VDOT for review. We have a pending meeting next week with VDOT to go over that. And after that meeting, Mr. Nixon will determine how to move forward with that negotiations with them on the agreement. And then also, Danella is also working on a permit for the Tunnel Facility Drive location at this time. City of Chesapeake doing final walkouts. I believe that is now complete. So we're working on the agreement. That's on the legal review still. Mr. Lockerbie is working with the City of Chesapeake attorney to draft that agreement. But at this time, City of Chesapeake is 100% complete with their construction at this time. So final walkout and the agreement is on the way. And Danella's already started to drive the network, look at various things. They haven't pulled anything. Just waiting on the agreement to be executed before they can proceed pulling fiber.
Cold Start Chesapeake.
City of Norfolk, downtown reload. Since our last conversation with Locates, we met with their supervisor at 811, and Locates are beginning to clear in that location at this time. And we anticipate starting drilling next week on the downtown reload at this point, weather permitting. For the railroads, East Little Creek, that was approved this week, and we have that scheduled now for November 3rd of 2025. So that's next month. And then the land surveyor, as you can see right there, that they needed on site, we provided additional documentation on our drilling specifications, and the land surveyor is no longer needed at that location at this time. And then the Buckingham Branch RPL was already approved, and that is scheduled. That is scheduled for November for construction, November as well. So progress is being made in Norfolk for proceeding with construction at this time. City of Suffolk. We have 2 railroads permits from Rail Pros. Indian Trail was approved this week. We're now pending signatures for that, and we're still waiting on flag personnel for Wiggins Road. For the G&W, the 5, we'll start that next week. It will be mid-October to start one of the 5, and each other week after that, railroad will be completed. And then the CX railroad, we're still waiting on flag personnel as well. So this doesn't state for a fiber install, but we do have 30,000 feet of fiber installed in Suffolk this week alone. The bridge road reload, construction is still in progress at that time. And then the cable crews are in market. Obviously, they pulled the 20 to 30,000 feet this week, and they'll be in the market again next week on Holland Road and Canyon, working down Highway 58 at this time. City of Virginia Beach, these are total permits that we have, 31. We have 18 permits submitted. Last month, you see permits approved was 3. I'll explain that in a minute. We had to reapply for 2 other permits within that market, so to pull fiber through. And we just received notification about an hour and a half ago that permit L was approved. So right now we have 2 official permits approved for the City of Virginia Beach. This is the permit status scorecard. As you can see where it's at right now. Obviously, L was approved, so that's fully green at this time. K2 is fully approved, and these are the statuses of each permit as it resides right now. And again, permit 1 and permit O, we had to reapply to pull the fiber at this time.
Do you have to reapply full fiber every segment?
No, so permit 1 and permit O were constructed on the old permits, and those permits expired. So now we have to reapply for those, and we have to change all the structures in there, handholds from to existing at this time, and then the permit process will go through as normal cadence at this point. Okay.
When will we have a perspective as to, I know our March timeframe now is no longer an option. When will we have, do you have any instance? And I know we have got some folks from Virginia Beach that we want to talk about right quick.
No, not at this time. Reason being, obviously we did get L approved today, which is another check mark in the box. But we would like to see some consistency with moving forward with permits being approved, and I can put a timeline towards, an end date for the completion of the entire project.
Peter.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the question, because want to make sure that we told the story, the scorecard. What exactly is going on with the permits being submitted? Because you have 18 submitted, is that what you said?
Yes,
And there's now 2 officially
2 officially correct.
approved. And what about the rest that are in progress? Are they just not being looked at, rejected? What is the story behind all of those?
So most of these permits, have to be revised, not once, not twice, but multiple times. Various reasons for that, based upon, it could be due to submission, but obviously we were submitting these going along, as the original plan was to try to get the first 2 on track and then improve others. What we did, we started us uploading information for approval process. So what happened was, mistakes or errors that were on the first 2, now the others are being rejected. Now we have to go and fix those as well.
Ms. Ritter?
No, go ahead, Karen.
What's the status of the 13 that have yet to be even submitted?
This is the status and where they sit for each department. So if you look based on the colors,
Lauren, I think she's
I'm
asking.
asking about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W.
so excuse me. So those are in Danella's hands still to get those submitted.
When
So
is Danella submitting those 13?
we're hoping to have all of those completed by the end of this month. Now there's a hold up. They have to follow their QC process also. Due to the multiple revisions, they can't work on any new permits. So we're trying to get, again, these running lines for the contractors to come in, and these are in strategic order for them to follow a linear path, so they don't have to start and stop construction over and over.
I'd like to follow up on that too, because I know Warren said this month, which is October, but the last few months you were saying September. So they still have not been submitted. We're supposed to have gotten all permits submitted by September. So now it's going to be October?
Well, our commitment was to submit 2 per week. We weren't able to do that because of the multiple revisions of the previous ones that were submitted. We're trying to get those kind of executed to where they need to be so we can begin construction. We don't want to continue to put a whole bunch more incorrect information into the portal where they're going to get kicked back. So we prefer to get what we have now. Obviously, we'll still submit those as we go, but we want to make sure we have a linear footage for all of these being permitted and approved so we can start construction. That's the key, of it, to start construction. Because we can't, let's say if they approve A tomorrow, we can't start construction because it's not in the linear path for the permits to move forward for construction.
No, I understand that. My question really though is regarding, you mentioned some have been resubmitted several times. By the way, I want to acknowledge Mr. Manager, DCM Manager from City of Virginia Beach. She's here today. Because this has been an ongoing thing for the beach and always the city manager. So she's well aware of this and driving staff. But if staff is waiting for a lot of action to happen before they can review things. And sometimes when the review takes several times, and the men are not going to get the opportunity to speak on what.
Peter, are you asking the chair if she could speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so I would just say what I've heard from others, and I know it felt as well, and Ms. Wilson and I spoke earlier. I appreciate all the details here. Amanda, thank you. I think the challenge that you're going to see from the other cities is we know that not everything's been done perfectly on our end, and probably there's some challenges in Virginia Beach. We just can't understand how none of these issues happened at this level in any of the other 4 cities. What is different here, and what do we have to do differently going forward? I think there are a lot of 1 permit per city, 2 permits per city, for example. And can we get in a situation where we can clear this out? Because this is hindering the completion of the ring, which then hinders our ability to work with our partners at Spark and GTS. So you being here means a lot. So I would love to hear if you'd like to speak to the group, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I hate to put you on the spot. We did talk about this previously.
I would ask one
Yes, Ms. Ritter.
before, whether or not this is more appropriate for a closed session than it is in the open session. And secondarily, I have a couple other questions, but that would be my first.
Because why don't we wait to close?
I'm going to defer to our legal counsel, Mr. Lockerbie.
Putting you
I
on the
think-
spot, Mr.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Rick. I appreciate you putting me on the
You're
spot.
very welcome, better you than me.
What are attorneys for?
I know that that was not initially programmed to be part of what we were going to discuss in closed session, except as an ancillary matter. If we're just talking about status of permits, I don't think there's any reason for us to go into closed session for that.
Okay, but it goes a little bit beyond status, in my opinion. So maybe we can just add that, discuss what everybody's comfortable with in an open session, and take care of anything else in the closed session.
I'm comfortable that, like I said, it is ancillarily attached to two of the, there's a serial list of things that I just wanted to very quickly address to make sure you were aware of them in closed session. And it is an ancillary matter attached to two of them.
So can you add it to the call?
For the closed session, yes, yes.
And make sure we include Amanda so she can stay.
Yeah, I mean, closed session requires trade secrets, adverse discussion that would adversely affect a contract. I think what we're asking right now is just an update as to what the status is in Virginia Beach.
Correct, and that's not a closed session matter.
Right, so I think we should proceed with that at this point. And I apologize because we hadn't had a chance to talk about this. I would have put you on the agenda.
That's no problem.
So if you don't mind,
Sure.
that'd be great.
I can share what I have.
That'd be great.
But some of this may affect negotiating position
Understood.
of the authority.
Understood. Go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to discuss the status of.
Amanda, why don't you come
Oh,
up?
excuse me.
Yep, sure. Go outside.
Traps in there.
Would you like me to go?
Yeah, why don't you go to the podium?
Again, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I don't have a formal presentation prepared for you, and so I do apologize. However, I do have a general overview of the status of permits within the city of Virginia Beach. I'd like to first start by sharing with the group that initially all of the 31 permits submitted to the city of Virginia Beach had been approved. So I do want to lead with that because I think there was some misunderstanding of the status of the original permits. So those that were submitted by CTC had been approved. Later on, Danella had found that those permits were actually non-constructible, and so worked with SNA, the City of Virginia Beach, as well as Danella to redesign the route. Staff is fully dedicated to the successful construction and completion of this project, or in an active communication with Danella. We've had a series of meetings, and I'm happy to provide this outline to you about the correspondence between the City of Virginia Beach Permit Office with Danella and SNA. I would like to note that from April to July, there was zero permit activity. We understand in speaking with Mr. Nixon that that was because of the necessity to redesign the routes that the line was to take. However, as was mentioned and demonstrated on the PowerPoint here, to date, only 18 permits have even been submitted for our city staff to review. There's been a question as to, in other communities, there's like a blanket permit that's been issued. So the permit issuance and the permit number assignment has zero to do with the actual design and review of that route, and that's where we're finding ourselves conflicted. There's been some suggestion that some of the comments provided by staff have been subjective in nature. We're happy to provide the review logs. One would find that the quality of the work is well outside of what the City of Virginia Beach can approve. We've had instances where information is incomplete, where the design is well outside of any right-of-way or utility easement, where it directly conflicts in some cases even with the cemetery. And so I think one would argue that it's our job as the municipality to protect our right-of-way, to ensure that this fiber line is installed in a location that is reasonable and allows the ring to truly serve the purpose that it is designed for, and the plans that we are reviewing don't meet the quality status of what we're able to approve, and that would be across the board in any locality. We're happy to provide the complete review log, should you all like to see that. And again, I would also point to the permit tracker that was referenced. It indicates in several places that some permits have been approved previously up to 3 times, but again, have not been found to be constructible. Again, I'm sorry for not having a full presentation. I'm happy to at a later date prepare one for you. There is a timeline that I've been able to share with some of the localities, and again, we're happy to provide the review logs upon request.
Okay. Open up for questions or any comments. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
And Ms. Wilson, thank you for helping to facilitate that. I think having some history is important, but at this point, I'm really about how do we get it done?
Right.
Let's look forward. Let's figure out how to get to yes, doing it the right way.
Right.
I think we share that as well. And so you being here in and of itself is a huge plus. I know Peter has been working hard, Edward, et cetera. So there's nothing other than we all want to help you in any way possible. So thank you for being here.
Of course.
I have
Okay.
a question. So we have, as you mentioned earlier, the 2 through 6 and the P through W. Are we still bound by the numbers, right? So I'm thinking there's 30 permits. Are we still bound today by the number of permits that we have submitted?
No, we're not. Certain areas, there are, like, for example, town center, you're going to have that congestion, so it's required. But in most areas that have been decided that you can submit as much as you want. So that's not an issue.
So I asked that we to now look at that going forward, because when we laid this out, I don't know if that's still the right number, but, we're going to go through, we still have all these others to
So,
resubmit.
yeah, because I go back to Mr. McClellan's point, that the other 4 cities issued a single permit. I called our permits office and made this probably happen, and 1 permit was issued, and we didn't have these kind of issues. I think our troubles began when it was segmented into 1-mile segments, requiring a separate permit for each of those. And nobody's more congested with junk than a 300-year-old city.
Yeah, I think it may be, and so the permit number, the permit issuance, like the runs assigned with the permits, that's an administrative matter we can work out. That's not a problem, and we have a dedicated staff person that's focused on this plan review. It's the quality and the practicality of the plans that are being submitted versus what's the state of the right-of-way that they're planning, that they're designing to. Like, that's been the issue. And I was looking at plan review comments this morning in preparation for now coming here, and I'm happy to share the full review log if that would give you a level of comfort. I hate to speak more to it at this point, but I'm happy to share that so that you can see the magnitude and the gravity of the plans that are being submitted and our professionals review, and not only our planning department, but in public utilities as well.
Ms. Berger, do you-
Yes, I do. For Mr. Lyon, please, if I might. 2 questions. One is, would you give a definition of we? All through your presentation, it's we submitted. Who is doing the submission? We
Danella.
as the
Danella.
authority?
Danella.
Okay, if you could just keep that clarity. We are not approving permits and we are not submitting plans. Leading me to a discussion we need to have about change orders later. Maybe not even today. And additionally, I guess I have one question because I have a science background. I'm a straight line AB. I don't take a circuitous route. Why aren't we doing a linear pathway on these permits? It only makes sense that you do it in a linear manner, not, as Catherine said, here and there. If Danella needs to leave a space for town center, understandable, that is highly congested. But
So to answer your second question, so what you see from a submittal standpoint, it is linear. We prioritize which permits should be in sequence from 1 through 18 now of that path. So it is linear, and we're trying to get it approved in that linear fashion.
Okay, who's we?
Danella.
Okay. So do you have an update on that?
Or as, this is the update that we're showing now. We only have 2 permits. Danella only has 2 permits approved at this time, which is not on the linear path.
But is everything submitted in that 18 straight line?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. If you look at the graphic up there, A through O, I guess, that's the linear piece there. There are pieces on either end that are, I don't know why those are.
Okay, so that's not linear. Linear is everything, to me, is everything's connected. And it would, I don't know, I've never built anything but a
That path
Lego house.
is a linear. It's a straight path. You follow that priority route of approvals 1 through 18 as a straight path, linear path.
And I think you're agreeing, you can't jump, you can't be on, Smith Street and
Correct.
jump over to Jones Street when you've got 5 blocks in between. You want to keep the staff moving there.
Okay,
so-
no offense, obviously you can.
Well,
But
it's not
should you?
ideal.
Yeah.
So the goal, Ms. Ritter, is for Danella to bring in their construction contractor, have them start on one end and go down the line. If you look at the graphic at the bottom where it has the numbers, those are the order of priority, and they start with, is it L, and goes all the way to the left. So we keep getting asked questions about what's the priority. And today we got L approved, and the goal is to start there, bring the crews and market, and let them stay here. As more permits are approved, they will be on either end of that, and they can just keep going in on line, as Mr. Lyons said.
So are L and M contiguous?
Yes, this,
No, it goes from L to K2, K, J, H, G2. So you're going from L to your left at this point.
So you're saying the segments weren't in a linear, their names weren't linear to begin
Correct,
with?
that is correct.
So when you look at the map, I can't remember the one that had all the segments outlined on the map. It didn't go from here
A all the
and
way.
work all the way around.
Correct.
It jumped around.
Oh,
So
well, that makes perfect sense.
that's what I'm gathering.
Ms. Jarrett, do you have anything else to add? And again, thank you, and I hope you'll be able to join
Grammar
us.
school in Hawaii.
We have a great Friday meeting once a month,
I will do my
and we
best.
encourage people to wear jeans.
I will take that note. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Dr. Kemp.
Warren, on slide 4, the production map, I know it's a lot of work going into it, but we need to, we talked about, dashboard's great, but the map is really about the conduit. So we need to label it because it's not about the fiber. So I think we've had a discussion in the past, it's really, the map maybe need to be more, I know, or it's great, pictures say, a lot, right? So this is about conduit, is that correct?
Correct, so yeah.
Not fiber.
I appreciate that feedback. So yes, previously it was conduit only. I changed the status, the current status for this meeting, but I will revert back to it.
Yeah, I think
Or
it helped
just
to put the
label it,
segments
yeah.
back on
And
there.
then I'll
Yeah.
also add a map of fiber
Oh,
there
that'd be great.
for next presentation. Once I get that.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Lyons? Great, thank you. Okay, we will move into our executive director update.
So the first item on the agenda is the audit briefing. And from what I understand, Mr.
Carter.
Yep, Mr. Carter, come. All yours, Mr. Carter.
Well, great. Thank you very much. And I'm glad I actually got to go after that report because that was some other great information. I believe that you all have received the audit report. Maybe there were 2 documents provided to you, one's financials, and maybe the other one is just kind of a summary of our audit work. I will just quickly touch on the financials because there's really not a lot to them, probably some of the smallest audited financials that you all deal with. We did issue a clean opinion on the financial statements, an unmodified opinion, so that's great news. That's what you're looking for from your auditor. Quickly, just looking through the financials, there's not a whole lot to go over. There is a management discussion and analysis If you want to have just a synopsis of the year, but I know that you all, in your monthly meetings, get a synopsis every 30 days or so. So you may not need to look at that MD&A. You will see that obviously we continue to work on the fiber ring. All of that construction and everything is in your fixed asset report, so we continue to add and work on that as you were just discussing. And then at the end of that audit report, there is another statement that we do of internal control and compliance, and that is also in the report. So we had no findings or issues there as well. And so really that is my synopsis of the audit and what we have going on financially. We do have any excess funds. I'll just mention they are sitting in the LGIP. So that's where we have our excess funds until we spend those. So I think everything is sitting in a very risk-free environment there. Items that we like to discuss in these meetings just quickly. Obviously, we've maintained our independence in doing our audit work, working with the team that keeps the books and financials for you. We had no journal entries, audit entries, anything like that. No past adjustments. Everything that we requested, documents, any internal controls that we wanted to look at, everything was provided to us as near as we can tell completely and timely by the finance team that works on keeping the books for the Southside Network Authority. So all in all, a very clean audit, very clean report with no recommendations. And with that, honestly, there's not much more that I think I would need to cover. But I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from?
I was going to say, yay, Keelan.
Seriously, thank you, Keelan. Appreciate that.
Continue, absolutely.
It's what you like when there are no questions, right? Because it's clean.
Sure. Well, and I will just end with, I do really appreciate you allowing me to join remotely and not spend the next 4 hours driving home Friday afternoon. So I do want to thank you. Not that I don't enjoy being down there. I actually have a condo at Virginia Beach, so I do love the area. But I'm glad that I'm not driving home. So thank you so much for letting me join remotely today.
Thank you. Come back soon and spend a lot of tax dollars here, please.
You get a lot from me, I can tell you. I enjoy myself when I'm there.
Look at that, Virginia Beach. Okay, great. So with that in mind, I'm looking for a motion and a second to accept the financial audit results as presented.
Move to approve.
Thank you. It's been moved by Ms. Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. K, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the financial audit results as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, ready to go. Go enjoy the palm trees in the background.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thanks, Mike. That wasn't 4 hours away from here. Just saying.
We need Mike.
Yeah.
So I wanted to continue on with the rest of the status for the executive director update. So I was asked by the board in preparation for discussions with potentially new members of Newport News and Hampton to have CAO meetings, so meeting with each one of the Southside city managers, which I have completed as of about 2 weeks ago. Last was Virginia Beach, and the first was Suffolk. It was a great meeting, and each one of the CAOs. This meeting was the first meeting. The next meeting that we have planned is the CAOs will get together, so I'll start arranging that here in the next week. And then the next meeting in that same vein will be the Southside CAOs will get together with both the Hampton and Newport News CAO to discuss potential membership. So at each one of these checkpoints, we will report to the board on where we are with each one of those meetings. and I'll keep the board informed about anything that needs to, that garners board attention at that point. I'm happy to answer any questions about any of those meetings if you have any.
Recommend you bring us, if their city managers want us there.
Of course.
Yeah, okay, just because, city leadership are pretty busy, so,
Yes.
Been to these meetings before, you get the whisper behind you, hey, let's,
like-
or a spring break with them, yeah. So I appreciate that opportunity and let the city CEOs decide who they bring.
Sure.
And I can only speak on behalf of Norfolk, because I sat in on that meeting, but I thought it was really, really helpful. And while we are present every month, it's helpful and important that they're hearing directly from you. So I think the goal is to do this every 6 months, to have those meetings as well. So I appreciate that. So I think that's a good practice moving
So
forward.
that was one of my requests, is to get together, and that was a recommendation from Mr. Crump, to get together with them every January and July and give them like a state of where the SNA is. So I think that's a great idea. It's good for them, good for me as well. Any other questions on the city manager meetings? Okay. So I'll move on to the next item, and I'll ask for some assistance from Mr. Crum here. We had a brief meeting with Teelan and Kelly and Mr. Crum last week to talk about personnel and budget. And we've been so busy on getting the network built. There's a lot of policy information. Ms. Ritter has brought this up in the past about just things like fundamental things like vacation policy and that type of thing. So what I'm going to ask for is that the board approve or appoint a personnel and budget committee to assist Mr. Lockerbie, myself, Ms. McClellan, and I emailed Ms. Fitzpatrick about being a part of that committee as well to help us develop those policies. Mr. Crum, anything you want to add here?
So this is very similar to what we do with the HRPDC and the HRTPO. I recommended to Marcellus and ultimately to the board that you form a personnel and budget committee very similar to what we have. The duties of the P&B committee would be beginning with evaluating the executive director on an annual basis, helping and assisting him with the preparation of your annual budget, and then bringing that proposal here to the full board. But really, now that the SNA has a staff, and you've not had a full-time staff before, it's really time for the SNA to have a personnel policy manual. And these will deal with some really important issues that Mr. Nixon is going to need to be able to do effective budget and financial planning. So decisions such as, are you going to participate in the Virginia retirement system? How are you going to deal with employee health insurance? What is the method for how employees will accrue vacation time? Is it vacation time or is it PTO? Is it sick time? What holidays are you going to recognize? Even things like purchasing procedures, etc. I know Mr. Lockerbie's worked with a number of groups and similar types of authorities and public bodies, so this information is not hard to put together. But my recommendation to Mr. Nixon was that he request of this board the formation of that P&B committee. It's worked really well at the PDC and TPO as an advisor to the full board on these matters, and I think the SNA would benefit from that type of structure. So,
Ms. Wilson.
I think it's greatly needed. I'm glad that it's being recommended, and it's time for us to do this. I think we need a lot of us have legal staffs that have different specialties. Probably a human resources attorney from one of the cities would be a good member of this committee.
And Mr. Lockerbie, you'll be participating?
Yeah, or my expert, to Ms. Wilson's point, I would want to drag in my partner Jeremy Carroll, who is far more knowledgeable of HR than I am, and similarly, he drags me into finance discussions because finance is my strength. So I support having more smart brains in the room.
Yeah, if we have, if you want to volunteer, somebody on your staff to join Laura, me, and Mike, if you have somebody from the City of Virginia Beach Attorney's Office, that would be great.
Tori,
I'll talk to Margie.
who from Human Resources?
Margie Smith's our HR attorney.
And can we check to see if she'd be willing to help us?
That's great. And we're going to try and make, do this pretty quickly, because our goal is to have a meeting and come back and make a presentation and recommendations for next month in conjunction with the budget. So, but to Mr. Crumb's point, we need all of those numbers for VRS, healthcare, et cetera. If we don't have a policy, it's hard to plug those numbers in, so. We're growing up. So with that in mind, I'm looking for a motion and a second to appoint a personnel and budget committee as presented.
So,
Thank you, Dr. Kay. Second?
Second, this is unnamed of who's going to be on it.
It is, as it currently stands, I will be on it, chairing it with Laura Fitzpatrick, Mike Lockerbie, and his
I'm not on the attorney, I'm just the attorney, I'm the advisor,
Okay,
I'm not a committee member.
Right,
Yeah.
And then a Virginia Beach,
Maggie Smith.
Is there anybody, any other representation desired by cities? Okay, and then,
So,
do you want to, we have some other business coming up. Yes,
Okay.
Catherine is happy to help for a few weeks. We'll talk about that. So has been properly seconded, moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All righty. Well, since we're here, I was going to bring this up in old and new business. We have some changes to our authority members coming up, and it's not sort of out of the item, so we'll just throw this in. But Catherine would have been a full participant on this committee, except she called me this week with news that I was not happy about.
I'm retired.
No.
I did tell Marcellus.
You already broke our heart when you left us.
I know, I wouldn't with everybody. I'm sort of happy to help kind of unofficially. I owe Norfolk some time. I'll be on leave for a while, so, but after that ends, I'm certainly happy to come back and help where I can. So it's been a passion of mine, this board and this ring and getting it to the finish line. I'd like to see it through, but I will be changing the status considerably.
So we'll have some more status on that, and Andy's leaving us too.
Yeah.
So City of Norfolk is going to have a little turnover, but they've got some great colleagues coming in, and
Andy, where are you going?
thank you.
Chesapeake.
Are you coming back?
Sort of, no ma'am, going all as far from here as you can go without getting to West Virginia. I'm going to Frederick County.
It's going to be their attorney.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's sort of like personnel and budget, so we'll just put it on the agenda as such.
So while we are mentioning great things, I'd like to congratulate the gentlelady from Chesapeake for being the new vice mayor there. Congratulations.
It's very hard to get used to, so I'm still on the first name basis with everybody.
I understand. Okay, Ms.
Yeah, you
Ritter,
do
Vice Chair.
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor, I don't know.
That, just Deb's fine. Since I knew you win.
Yeah, it's true.
Mr. Marcellus Nixon, do you have anything more for the executive director update at this time?
No, that's it. I'll turn it over to
Turn it over to Taylor.
Taylor. Taylor, you need help?
I will hobble my way over here. Sorry. I'm not moving very fast these days.
The audit was tough.
It always
It's a
is.
tough audit this year. No, I'm just kidding. So, good afternoon, members of the commission. It is my pleasure to be here today to give you just a quick financial update of where the authority is sitting. You've seen this chart before, and you should have a paper copy in front of you at your desk, because I know it's kind of hard to read sometimes on the screen. So the good news is that last month when you saw this particular chart, our unrestricted net assets was sitting at about $145,000 projected for the end of fiscal year 26. That number has increased to about $288,000. That is due to the actual final audit results for fiscal year '25. The interest income came in higher than we had anticipated. We were putting some estimated numbers in when you saw those numbers last month, and so now that the audit has been finalized and the numbers are final, the net position of the authority is sitting a little bit better than what we had originally anticipated. So good news. We are projecting, of course, that we're going to spend 100% of the budget for the year, but we do not anticipate we're not anticipating anything outside of the norm at this point in time. So we certainly will raise the red flag if something comes up. So the bottom section, Simone, I don't know if you can scroll down. The bottom section where the project development, I know there was some question last month when we looked at this as to whether this included all of the change orders and the things that we knew to date. It does, in fact, include all the things that Mr. Lyon has been working on in negotiating some of those change orders and the ins and outs and what's been changing. So those are as updated numbers as we can get to you at this point. The only thing I would say that is not included in here from a revenue standpoint is the $500,000 from each locality that has been pledged but not collected and not billed. So we didn't include that in any of the revenue numbers at this point. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them or get the information for you if I don't have it readily at the top of my head.
I looked at my eagle eye over here, Catherine, to see if she had any questions. Nope, she's okay. Any other questions from the group?
I have a question, I'm sorry.
Yes, Ms. Wilson.
So the 500,000 that was pledged, we have some more information on that. Was that, was there, if it was needed, like sort of in a reserve?
That's what one of the agenda items with each of the CAOs was, that specific item, to talk and review that element and to make sure that that money still exists. And the discussion was also how and when that would be provided. And we have, each city has a slightly different perspective, no shock. But it exists, and it is there for the purposes of any overage, any requirement for change orders, along those lines.
That
it was
is
discussed.
construction money.
It's construction, yes, thank you. And
Construction money?
It's construction money.
and each of our councils put it in their respective budgets 2 years ago. And so that was one of the purposes of that meeting as well, with the CAOs, to say, hey, here's where we are. Remember, this money, yes, it still exists. Yes, good. Yes, we will be coming for this to be determined in the future. Is that an accurate portrayal of what happened?
Yeah, and I want to add, I think the assumption is the body will vote on
Absolutely.
that we want to go into this money before we square everything.
Yeah, no, the money is been untouched and is in escrow. There is a question as to whether or not it could be in our escrow versus the city's escrow, and we had differing opinions on that. So at this point, it's sitting with all the cities until we have a specific ask for it.
So is that when you said there's different opinions, it's about where it actually is sitting?
Right.
And that's the only,
Yeah, so it was set up as a contingency because the project had never had a contingency fund for, and so as Keelan just said, if everything works out as we know today, and we have a big unknown going through Virginia Beach, we would end up at $288,000. I suspect there'll be change orders as we start actually doing the construction through Virginia Beach. We have issues with some of the crossings we haven't completed yet. So I know when we talked to Mr. Roberts, we were like, we're probably going to have to draw that through. So for us, for Norfolk, it's in the CIP project. So we would just have to get invoiced and we would release it.
And Chesapeake is in the same situation. It's in a CIP project, so the mechanism to access it would be an invoice. But that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, Keelan.
You're good?
Okay.
Thank you. I'll
Yeah.
Go slow.
Exactly. Speaking of money, we're going to start a quick discussion on budget, and then are we going to have a budget discussion, or are we?
Just really quick, and then.
And then we're going to get to.
Yep.
I thought we
Because you can start right there. Okay. So I wanted to alert the board that I will be developing basically some options for budget, looking with Mr. DeBerry and Mr. Lyons' help at all the potential expenses for the next fiscal year beginning July 1st of 2027. But I'm just in the preliminary stages of that. That's one of the reasons, as Ms. McCullough mentioned, that we want to have the discussion about the Personnel and Budget Committee. And for the next board meeting, we may have some numbers or may have a better idea of what those budget options need to look like. But I just wanted to give the board some heads up that it'll be coming.
I do know, Marcellus, that since our IT director sitting back here, we're in the process of developing a budget right now. So
Yes.
the sooner we can get those numbers nailed down so that she knows what to put in her budget.
Yes.
Will be best.
Yep,
$1
understood.
million. You don't have to do this. Yes. She's smiling.
Okay. Mr. Ben Davenport is here with Spark Networks and GTS.
Spark Network with a Q.
And let's see, public presentation, that is perfect. So hello everyone, my name is Ben Davenport, I'm the president of Spark Networks. We are your private partner under the PPEA and we're excited about this. Wanted to do 2 presentations. We were asked to present some potentially competitively sensitive information, which we are during a closed session. And Marcellus asked me to do an abbreviated, quick presentation here, but please jump in at any point. I always think that it's good to start out with these presentations remembering where the genesis of this project came from. And so I'd like to kind of give a little bit of background on the entire RCR project, which I think gives context to why all of us are here and what the goal is for the success of this network. Next slide, please. Oh, and first, I'd like to thank Mina and Chuck Graham. They are partners with Sienna. They are holding all of our network equipment right now, and they are very anxious to deliver it to us to light up the network. And so they're very, very interested in this entire conversation. Mina and Chuck, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Oh, clicker. Perfect. I'll do this abbreviated. Everybody knows what the regional connectivity ring is by now, at 119-mile fiber optic network stretching across the 5 Southside cities. How it started. In 2016, 5 cities came together to form the Hampton Roads Broadband Task Force. At that time, in 2016, there was one incumbent provider that had 70% of the market with a coaxial network. Now, everybody's familiar, those coaxial networks are legacy cable networks that have severe fiber limitations. And in this time, 2016, this was a time when other metropolitan statistical areas were doing fast and furious fiber builds. So if you think back, my wife, who's here today, was a graduate at Duke University. The Google Fiber Network, the North Carolina Next Generation Network, Austin was doing Google Fiber. And unfortunately, because we only really had one major incumbent here, and then Verizon, which was a half, there was no investment in fiber going on at that time, which led us to start the Hampton Roads Broadband Task Force. You can see right here, you may recognize a few faces. We got together members of each of the 5 cities. Councilman Don Goldberg from the city of Suffolk, Roland Davis from the city of Chesapeake. You all well know Chair McClellan, and then Lisa Louise Burke from the city of Portsmouth. And so at that time, under the direction of Bob Crum, Bob, I thank you very much because you helped start the whole process by giving us space and administering the meetings for the Hampton Roads Broadband Task Force. And a lot of this was centered around, if you look in the top left here, that was the commissioning of the Maria cable, the Microsoft cable. That's Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft, at the groundbreaking, or excuse me, at the culmination of the Maria cable. That was in Williamsburg. But that spurred the conversation, how do we leverage this really cool opportunity in Hampton Roads? To gain support, the Hampton Roads Broadband Task Force began a series of fireside chats in 2017. My wife, who was at Duke University, introduced me to Tracy Buthe, who was the CIO at Duke. And we talked about the creation of the North Carolina Next Generation Network, and actually got the CIO from North Carolina State, Dr. Mark Hoyt, to come and give a presentation on how they started the North Carolina Next Generation Network, which was a partnership, public-private partnership between the cities of Durham, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill, and University of North Carolina, NC State, and Duke, and AT&T. And that was what this whole project was modeled after, was this project here. Of note, in 27, that's Andy Burke, the mayor of Gig City, Chattanooga, Tennessee. He came, Andrea, you invited him. He was a very excellent speaker. He talked about Gig City, which Chattanooga, Tennessee was known at the time. In 2017, the Hampton Roads Broadband Task Force went after the first round of Go Virginia funding. This was the very first year that Go Virginia was out there. Region 5 recommended us, if you remember, Andrea, for $530,000 award. Unfortunately, the Virginia Telecom Association was not as excited about it as we were, and convinced the Go Virginia board that it would be wise to delay the broadband funding decisions until the 2018 General Assembly voted on it. They never did. So we almost lost the money. I've got to give credit where credit is due. My city manager at the time was Dave Hansen. Dave Hansen was a huge proponent for this project. He stepped in and he recommended, this is Vice Mayor Lewis Jones right there. He recommended that I approach Vice Mayor Jones and ask him if he would put forward a request for $500,000 to fund the comprehensive broadband study that we were going to do with the Go Virginia money. Now, some of you all remember, this was right around the time with the Norfolk Outlet Mall vote, and Vice Mayor Jones and I were on separate sides of that issue, and so I had to go to him and talk to him, but he was incredible. He supported it. He actually was the person that pushed it through the city of Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach gave $500,000, and we started the regional connectivity ring broadband studies. Broadband Telecom, I think some of you all know the BQs, did the 30% design study, and then Cass Severn did a further study that helped us with something that Peter Wallace led. And we went to the Smart Regions Infrastructure Challenge in Columbus, Ohio. Peter Wallace, I got to thank you because you helped us with your city staff putting together an application that, if you all remember, won grand prize, most innovative project in the country at that time. And we were recommended for a $22 million award at that time. Next slide. Unfortunately, the Hampton Roads Broadband Task Force was unable to accept the money because it was not a legal entity in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which spurred the creation of the Southside Network Authority. So on November 12th, 2019, all 5 Southside cities, and Suffolk I think was one day later, all 5 Southside cities passed the exact same resolution that created the Southside Network Authority, with the goal of making sure that fiber builds were beginning to happen in the Hampton Roads area. This was under the Virginia Wireless, question?
No, I hate to do this to you, but we want to get into some good meat.
Yeah, okay, let's see here. Okay, got it. Let's see here. We were asked to talk about some of the things that we at Spark Networks have been doing. This is a little milestone here. March 26th was when we were expecting it, but it sounds like that's not the date anymore. Spark Networks was working very, very closely with the Norfolk Innovation Corridor in 2024. And this was because at the time we were expecting to receive fiber in the downtown Norfolk market and start our initial last mile deployment there. And so we began working very closely with all the businesses. We hired one of the premier sales teams in the country. And we started blanketing the entire area with educating them on what Spark Networks was doing. This is the Norfolk Innovation Corridor. This is the network. And Noel was going to give the presentation, but once I found out it was an abbreviated one, I said that I would give it. The rest of the presentation has to be closed door session because it is competitively sensitive about where we are going with this and what we have left to do.
Ms. Ritter.
Mr. Devon.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you send that to us?
Yes,
Our
absolutely.
staff people. We have some new people on our council, and that's a really good introduction.
Excellent.
Since my there's only one picture of me in there that nobody can tell, but I don't know who fixed your pictures, but I think.
There you are.
No.
No.
Yes. I know I'm not that wide. So, whoever did these.
And I'm not that skinny.
Well, unfortunately, Vice Mayor Ritter, all of these pictures were mostly pictures that I took. That's why there's so many pictures of me, and I regret that. Andrea, I would actually ask anybody that has early pictures to provide those, and I would incorporate
That
those.
would be awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. And somebody needs to take away your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we're ready to go into the, I guess you all have to vote to go into
Any
closed
other
door.
questions before we go into closed session? Okay, Mr. Lockerbie.
Can I make a request that we actually bifurcate this into two closed sessions, one of which is to the competitively neutral, then we'll come back into open and then go back in again
Yes,
for
sir.
the risk committee
Yes,
report? Okay.
yes.
In Chair, will we be permitted to be in the second closed door, because that does have an impact on what our plans are, we need to know.
I don't believe that's the case. I believe you'll be participating in the first half.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I do want to note, we're not going to be able to take a break. There's a couple scheduling issues, so we're attempting to get out of here by 2:30, 2:45. We'll see how that goes, so my apologies. So is there language?
Yes, Madam Chair. I believe you're asking for a closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended, pursuant to subsection A33 for the discussion or consideration by a local authority created in accordance with the Virginia Wireless Service Authorities Act of confidential proprietary information and trade secrets subject to the exclusion in subdivision 19 of section 2.2-3705.6 of the Code of Virginia. And Madam Chair, I would note that records exclusion deals with trade secrets created by or for an authority. And because it is our private partner with whom we are working to jointly create that information, it is considered to be a trade secret of the authority for the purposes of the Act.
And I would ask that the PDC staff, any authority city staff that is here be included, and then GTS/Spark Network, any staff that you would like to include.
Yes, and if you could just make a note that I do object to that. I think that we should be included as a private partner. We've shown that we can be very, very helpful with these things whenever engaged. We've turned in incredible results for you all. But understand.
Trust me, it includes a lot more than
Okay.
that. So, and that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
So with that in mind, is there a motion? Thank you, Dr. Kay.
No, you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Ritter, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, do we have to take a vote now, or just we come out, right?
You take a vote now to go in.
Voice vote. I should know this by now.
Voice vote.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are now in closed session.
Madam Chair, I believe you're asking for a motion to return to open session and to certify under pursuant to section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended, that to the best of each member of the board's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Freedom of Information Act, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed session.
Is there a motion? So moved. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. It's been moved, Ms. Ritter seconded. Is that correct? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote and then the next one.
Yep. Ms. Ritter?
Yes.
Chairman Boland?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Dr. Kidd?
Step out for now.
No. And Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
We're now back into open session. Mr. Lockerbie, actually, Dr. K. Sorry. do you certify that we had a appropriate closed session?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So, Mr. Lockaby, could you please read language for a motion that would take us back into closed session to talk about the appropriate things?
Yes, ma'am. You're looking for a motion to re-enter closed session pursuant to subsections A8 and A29 of section 2.2-3711 of the code. A8 for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by the authority regarding specific legal matters of 1, legal risk factors of the authority and risk management strategies, and 2, of the authority's comprehensive agreement with GTS. And under A29 for the discussion of the terms of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body relating to a contract with PDOT. And I believe that necessary to have included in that meeting are the Executive Director and Finance Director of the HRPDC, the Special Assistant to the Executive Director, the Deputy Executive Director, the Executive Director, and the legal counsel and CIOs of the respective localities.
And any alternates and any other city staff over here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, is there a motion?
I can't make a motion, you're here.
Okay. Thank you.
You leave.
No. Okay, thank you. It's been moved by Mr. Hayes. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, there's still somebody on the
We're still
computer.
open.
We're still open.
Yeah,
we're still in
we have to vote
Yeah,
first.
you're right.
Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Ritter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all this voting to move us into closed session, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're now back into closed session.
Motion to certify by a roll call vote, or to return to open session and to certify by a roll call vote that to the best of each board member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Freedom of Information Act, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered by the board.
Yes, sir. I'm seeking a motion with that language. I'm asking
We're dominating the motion. Is that because we're the only ones?
Dr.
who can
Kay,
make
did you move?
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded by Ms. Ritter. Any discussion? Hearing none, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Ritter,
Yes.
Chairman McClellan,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Dr. K,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, we are now back in open session. We are moving on to old and new business, and I just wanted to say on behalf of myself, and I think the authority, Ms. Weitzel, Andy, our City of Norfolk team, you all have done an extraordinary amount of work on behalf of the SNA, and we are incredibly grateful, and you will be sorely missed. So thank you for yeah, it is very bittersweet. So anything that you'd like to say?
I'll miss you, and I'll keep an eye on the project, and like I said, one of my last obligations to Norfolk results is free to call me and see what I can do to help.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I'm gonna be making Catherine start arts and crafts with me. For arts and crafts.
Oh, I love that.
I'll
Is
give you a
there
whole bunch of places to go.
is there any? Yeah, I know. Is there any other old business? Any new business?
Suffolk Peanut Fest this weekend, don't forget.
All right, surprising stuff. Let's go.
Chesapeake Wine Fest this weekend in the Boardwalk Arch.
Make sure you get to the, whatever festival you're going, get there early.
Exactly. Okay, folks, our next meeting is scheduled for November 14th. We will see you then. This meeting's adjourned.